This is the part 2 that the talk has been labelled Our Journey in the Grand Deception. So I've shared with you our journey. And believe me, I could have talked about that all day. So to me, that's the short version of it. Now I'm going to get into the Grand Deception. So we'll alter the vibration a little bit, you know, coming out of me, but you know, I've got to share this stuff with you because it is a part of our reality, and it's going to be a big part of everyone's reality really soon. Because all of this is all going on behind the scenes. I'm involved right in the thick of it behind the scenes. When you go to sleep at night, many of you are involved in it too. We go to sleep at night, we leave our bodies, and we do lots of work behind the scenes. Now, honestly, how many people have gone to bed and have woken up so much more tired than when they first went to bed? Everybody's nodding their heads. That's because you've had a really busy night working really hard behind the scenes. We're all heroes here, I'm telling you. So, the difference is, if you want to use that word, some of us have more recall than the rest. Okay, that's all it is. And it's my journey to have more recall than somebody else's. That's all. And I can assure you there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons that come with that, because it's really difficult to walk around and function in this matrix, being a dad, being friends, whatever, and have all these experiences and all that knowledge walking around with it and knowing all the deception and all the horrendous things that are taking place in our reality. So, I'm going to share with you more of the heavy-duty stuff in this section, and then we're going to finish off with the really good, bright, happy, juicy stuff, okay? Because it's not all doom and gloom. The doom and gloom bit is really so small compared to the rest of it, but because you're inside of it, it looks big, and you experience it as being big. Okay? It's all about the spill over into the public arena. Like I said, today is the activation of the apocalypse. All the energetic patterns are going into the grids now to facilitate the veil being removed, the truth to be revealed, all the events to take place which are going to activate and stimulate all of your ancient memories. And it's the last vestiges of the karmic energies that need to be played out, dissolved, transmuted. Okay, remember I said we're all ETs. So remember, in order to go through the ascension process and become a creator God, we plunged down, we went through all these experiences, and then we've ended up through compression, stepping it down onto Mother Earth. And then from Earth, our very next stage is the 5th dimension, which is the 2012 doorway. And like I said, some people are already walking through. I'm walking through my consciousness constantly. I go in and out of Avalon, I manifest another body there. I do it all the time. So, you know, people want to say I'm deluded or whatever. That's their logical, rational mind trying to work out what I'm experiencing for real. The ascension process is taking us to a level. You see, the next step in the ascension process means we go to the 5th dimension on Mother Earth, and then from there we prepare for ascension. And it'll be what we would call a 3-month process of preparations. Now, I travelled into the future with my consciousness, and I saw ships everywhere coming in the 5th dimension. I did it also in a few years' time, but I'll share this one first. And once we walk through those doorways into the 5th dimension, that's where our true brothers and sisters from the stars will come and meet us on that level. Because we've said goodbye to all of them on this level. They know we're not going to see them again. That's a lot of the pain and the yearning that when you look at the stars, that you feel this yearning for. Okay? This isn't my home. I come from out there somewhere. So many people I talk to have those experiences. We've said goodbye to that forever, for those who go through. We come onto the earth to go through to the fifth dimension on the earth. Now, the ships that turned up on the fifth dimension, the construct is a light body. It's all very different. Life there is very, very different, okay? And not all beings choose to actually travel on ships and anything anyway. They just use their consciousness. But the celebrations that took place, the tears of joy that I saw in everyone's faces, and we're all going to naturally gravitate to our twin flames. That's another thing I'm going to be talking about, divine sacred union. Just as a reminder. Remind me if I forget about it. So, and then everybody was preparing for that 3-month period when ascension takes place on that day. And that planetary light body gets activated, and from inside, everything on that level, because the ecosystem on that level is very beautiful too. Okay, don't forget. But what people don't understand is this whole ecosystem on the earth has to go. A lot of people think ascension is, all right, we're just going to slowly merge into newer technologies and we're going to go back to nature and everything's going to be beautiful. Hang on a minute. How can you have a bunch of enlightened beings walking a planetary body while all around them there's death and destruction? Lions eat zebras. Has anyone ever seen a cat play with a mouse? Viruses, bacteria, everything consumes everything else. What people don't understand is this whole ecosystem has to go as well. The whole thing has to go. It's a contradictory situation to have a planet full of enlightened beings while they're inside an environment which is totally barbaric around them. It makes no sense, just looking at it from a sensible point of view. So the concept of this planet turning into a star makes perfect sense when you understand the whole process, when you look at it from the bigger picture. And you go, oh, okay, so the whole environment has to change as well. And that's why it's going to become a star. The whole outer crust of this earth is going to melt away. And here's the message I have for the ruling elite. If you think you can build underground bases, and if you think you're going to be safe, you are deluding yourselves. You are absolutely kidding yourselves. And the extraterrestrials that you are in contact with at this time are lying to you. And I mean lying. They have lied to me. They have taken me. They have tortured me. And they are not what they seem. Now, who and what is the Galactic Federation of Light? The Galactic Federation of Light originates, its headquarters, now you hear all sorts of stories, Lyra, this, that and the other, is in Orion. They come from a star, as one of the belt stars, as seen here from the southern hemisphere. It's on this one here, and it's Al-Nitak. That's the star where they come from. They come from a planet called Diaspora. That's what they call it. They call it Diaspora. That's equivalent in our English language. Now, I'm sure you've heard that term in some religions here on the planet too. Now, the reason they call it Diaspora is because it comes from a Greek word which means diaphora, which means the ones who are separate from the rest. It means the ones who are the chosen ones, the enlightened. It means the ones who are the chosen ones, the enlightened ones. And they are a blonde-haired, blue-eyed race, and I'm not being racist because there are a lot of beautiful blonde-haired, blue-eyed races out there, But these beings are so beautiful, so angelic looking, and so incredibly evil. It's the way they handle you and the things that they do to you. It's like you can come across the reptilians, and these were all reptilians. These beings have evolved. They have changed physical containers. They no longer look reptilian. But when you have the ability to see properly, when you can see properly, you see through the facade, they are not what they seem. And they have this ability to connect with you mentally, telepathically. Telepathy is mental, right? The fourth dimension is the mental dimension. And what they do simultaneously is they have technology and they have the ability to stroke your central nervous system, giving you the sensation of euphoria. And there's channelers all around the world who have fallen victim to these beings. And it's happening. I see it everywhere. I've dealt with these beings time and time again. I'm part of what's called the Council of Light, the Galactic Council. There are many here on the planet. I'm not saying this to make myself sound fantastic, because it's all about responsibility. It's got nothing to do with ego, fame, fortune, nothing to do with that. It's all about responsibility. So, they have been doing what they've been doing to me because they know who I am. They know who I am. They know what I'm doing here. They know what I'm about to do here. And they've done everything in their power to stop me from doing it. And you've all been put through the big test, and I'm here to tell you that there is no way in hell that they're going to win. It's over, it's finished. It was finished a long time ago. It's not about winning and losing, it's about the evolutionary process of the universe. Now these beings are called the Nordics, from Orion. Our governments have been in contact with these beings for a very long time. They like to build their underground bases. They get told to build their underground bases. They have a base on Mars, upwards of 500,000 Earth people living there already. Now, you hear the people talking about the Greys. Well, they are all in collaboration. Even though they're factional and they fight and do all this sort of stuff, they all belong to this one big empire which spans, the top starts here and goes all the way down. And that is what we call on the planet the Galactic Federation of Light. Because I was so closely aligned, this is what they do, they replicate. And because I'm here from the Galactic Council of Light, if you want to call it that, they were able to manipulate me. I've been implant after implant. They threw everything at me. Mind control programs. They plug holograms into you. I've had holograms run through my system because what they're trying to do with that is break me, and they're trying to break that barrier between my being here and my being there. So when they try to crack it, they're trying to drive a wedge through that barrier within yourself, because we've all got that. That's the barrier between your lower being and your higher self. And they have tortured me with holograms. And it reaches so deep inside of you, the way they use this technology. It is horrendous. But here I am. So, I'm sharing this personal, intimate stuff, and to live a life, to try and function, not to be able to share it with your family. It's been a hard road. Okay? And that's why when I stand up here and I talk about this stuff, I'm telling you I know what I'm talking about. They have amassed a great empire. At the top of that empire, there's two beings that run the whole show. They are both originally, and still are at the core, crocodilian reptilians. For those who don't know about this stuff, look at the ancient Sumer statues and you'll see the snouts. Look at the Egyptian hieroglyphs, you'll see crocodiles in it. They're everywhere, okay? It's all in it. You just got to go looking for them in the right places, It's nothing new. They have amassed such a great empire that it spans all the dimensional levels. Well, you see, that's a dimensional level. These are really octaves, but they sell it like it's a dimensional level. I've heard speakers on this planet talking about 6th, 7th dimensional Dracos. I've heard them talking about, oh, these beings came in from the 12th dimension. Well, no, they couldn't have, because everyone came in from the 9th dimension as a soul. So there's no way beings can come in from the 12th. It's impossible. So what they've done is they've replicated the whole dimensional structure of the universe down here in the lower universes. And these beings play God. Okay, so my 2004 presentation was taking my knowledge and they were assimilating me into their structure. That's what they did. And I'm here to tell you that they can only go to here. That's it. So really, all they are big fish in a small pond. That's all they are. And they're misguided, frightened little creatures. And that's all they are, at the end of the day. Now, I have a great deal of respect for them, having said all that. Because I respect all life. But I have to call a spade a spade. Okay? You've got to be real about things in life. You can't live in a la-la land the whole time. Not in this reality, you can't. So the reality is, these guys are coming. They're already here, but they're about to present themselves to you. Now, Planet X. Planet X is right now on the other side of the sun. As we go around the sun, it goes around the sun too, so we never get to see it. It's hiding there. Wormwood Planet, Nibiru, all these names, whatever you want to call it. When these beings turn up, what their objective is to stop as many people from staying on this planet and walking through those dimensional doorways to the true path of ascension. They are going to come here and they're going to sell everyone, all of you, their version of ascension. They have created a false light body, but it only goes to there. So when you're down here in these vibrations, when you come across a being up in the higher reaches of their empire, you think you're talking to an ascended master or an angelic being. And what they've done is, over a period of, especially the last 6,000 years, okay, because don't forget this is all part of the great divine plan. God contracted these beings to come and do that to us here, okay? And you all wanted to have that experience, that's why you're here right now. Don't forget that, right? So take responsibility for it, don't blame everybody else and all that business. So, they are going to sell love better than a US election campaign. I'm telling you, all the whistles and bells, all the lights and the glory, and they're going to talk it up like anything. Now, they need to do that because they need to win the hearts and the minds of the people in order to seduce them onto their ships, as many people as possible, because these are the guys, and even though they won't say it, they're the ones that are feeding off the worship. And these beings have real power. I've experienced it. Okay? I've experienced their power. What they can do to you is amazing. But the moment my higher being stepped in, nothing. They've got nothing on you when you just use that part of your being, let alone the rest of it. Okay? You've got to realise, yeah, I'm talking, they're really powerful, they've got amazing powers of control and everything, but at the same time realise that the moment you switch a bit of that power on, they're nothing. They're like an ant compared to an elephant, just from you using vibratory levels from here onto them, down here. Okay? So, they're on their way. They're already here. They're teaching the government behind the scenes to build all these underground bases. Now, you guys, I've just got to look at the camera for a minute, you guys who are building the underground bases on this earth, you are the suckers. Okay? You are the ones who have been taken for a big ride because they give you these special passes and you think you're one of the chosen ones, one of the elite, you see, and you're being put into these underground bases, so when the time comes and the crust melts away with an internal fire coming out from the centre of the core of this earth, you're going to perish, because you are the suckers. They don't want you. They don't want you. The ones that are going to Mars are more the ones that they want. You don't fit the bill. They definitely don't want someone like me, because I'm not going to listen to them. I'm going to be too hard to handle. So, these Orion Nordics, or P-52s, as they call them around Area 51 or whatever, they're codes for them. You know, the shadow government has all these codes. They are lying to you. They are lying to you through the teeth. And what they did is they first sent lower vibratory beings here. Beings with technology, which you know as the Greys. See, this empire has got incredible resources at its disposal. Remember, we're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of star nations that have been indoctrinated into this empire. So these Greys that have come here, they're sent first because they are master geneticists, fantastic with technology, fantastic with mind control programs, and they are doing the job that they need to do first before they send these other guys in to do their bit. It's all part of a master plan. And I'll tell you, they are factional, they have different cultural philosophies, yes they do. But I assure you, with every ounce and fabric of my being, that they are collaborating behind the scenes in the greater empire. You are being conned. You are being so conned. And it's never too late to relinquish your thirst for control and power and turn yourselves around. It's never too late. You'll be given every opportunity to do that. Now, over the next 2 to 3 years, more of you are going to be waking up profoundly. This information I'm providing here today, a lot of people already know, but the magnitude of it, I don't feel is known, because I've seen what's going on around the internet and the world and what people have to say. Not a lot, but bits and pieces here and there, and I don't think they've grasped the whole magnitude of it, the big picture. And, okay, I'm one of the first, not for ego reasons, but of life's journey, to come up and say this stuff. And I know that over the next few years, there's going to be more and more and more who are going to start coming out and saying it. There is. Because, like I said, it's time for the truth to come out and the truth to be revealed. Now, those beings that are going to Mars, that's another con. Because it's not going to be a happy life there. It really isn't. Can you imagine on a desolate planet having to live mostly underground? Yeah, it's not what you think it's going to be. They will always want to control you. You see, the journey we have taken here to come to planet Earth and to be in this generic form, which we call human form, human, godly man, our genetics, the codes, like the codes in your body, for example, are all the codes of the universe are contained in that body. You've got it, you've got it, you've got it, we've all got it. That's why it's generic. Okay? We are essentially the most powerful in the universe. And all this manipulation that's been taking place is because these beings have gone absolutely berserk of the fact, how could you possibly have beings that are more powerful than us? No way. We are not going to let that happen. We are the masters. We are the ones in control here. How dare they? So these beings are going to come here and they're going to go, oh, you poor humans, look at you, you all fight against one another, you all kill each other. You're not evolved. But they're not telling you that they're manifesting this behind the scenes. They're the ones pulling the strings. They're the ones that create the division. They're the ones that create the war. They're the ones that have been allowed to come here and manifest things as they are. So, when the end comes, they can come here and say this to you. And it's so important to understand how powerful you are. You hold all the codes in the universe inside of you. Human means God-man of godly mind. We're not human yet. We're about to become human. We're still going through the Homo sapien stuff, right? And Homo sapien, what's that? These other beings, right? These other beings that want to destroy the planet, want to mine her body for resources and everything, that are in what we call human form. No, mate, they are Homo sapiens, animal consciousness. Because it's not humane to do that to Mother Earth. The humane thing to do would be work with nature, to share with one another, to love one another, to nurture one another. That is what it means to be a humane being. Now, to be a Homo sapien, what does that mean? That's two Greek words. Homos means earth, and sapio in Greek means rotten. So, these beings who want to remain with the lower animal consciousness of the Homo sapien will turn this earth rotten. And that is exactly what they have done. So here we have this incredible empire, and you've got the Jesus of the church, not the real Jesus, the Jesus of the church, which is a personality and a character that's being portrayed to the masses. Okay? When everyone's in church and they're praying and they're projecting, and you see it in the evangelistic churches, and they're singing their songs, and you know, you see them and the tears are streaming down, and if you know the power of intention we have, can you imagine how much energy is being projected out? And these beings are just going, thank you very much. And that is why, when they have a planetary race of the most powerful beings in the universe worshipping them, they have never, ever, ever been fed so much power in all of existence. And it is like a drug for them, because they are who they are because of that worship. If everybody stopped worshipping and started understanding and respecting instead, then all of that will go away. So they're coming to harvest as much of their human herd, and this is their terminology, that's how they said it to me, their human herd as possible, because they need worship. They need it. They can't be who they are without it. For them to lose the level of power they have now is unthinkable. It's death to them. Now, over the next few years, this is all going to play out. They will reveal themselves. It's going to be all about love. And all I want to share with you is, please, from my heart, please, be careful. But at the end of the day, whatever path you choose is right for you. If you want to get on those ships, if you think, oh, no, what George said that day and all that, no, I don't resonate with that, and you want to get on those ships, then go on those ships, because that is your journey. If it's destined for you to stay in the lower years longer, then stay longer. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Okay? You can hang out down here a bit longer and go through the arduous process a bit longer if you like. It just means you're not ready to get it come out. It's like a party, you know. It's like some people are at a party and then the parents come home and they say, oh, you've got to wind up the party now. Oh, but Mum, but Dad, I'm having a good time. I don't want the party to end. You know? And that's what's happening here on Earth. Big Mama, Big Papa have come along and said, it's time to end the party, folks. It's time. And there's a whole lot of beings that just don't want it to happen. And they will kick and scream and throw tantrums and do everything possible to hang on to this reality and to the control and to the seduction and to the torture and to everything that's going on here, because they don't want their party to end. They're high and mighty, sitting at the top, sucking off the resources of the most powerful beings in the universe, and they're on such a big ego trip because they're like, ha, here's God, created a godly being, and look what we've done to it. So we're the real gods. We're the real gods, look what we've done. But they've forgotten. They've forgotten about the contract way back when. We will let you come here and do this. Because we need to create an environment for people to come and incarnate and dissolve their karma and be tested right to the nth degree to see who's going to make it through and who's not. Now, these Nordics are very clever. Like I said, the way they play with their words. Oh, I've read some stuff, New Agey stuff. It's awesome. Had me going for a while there too. But after a while, you start to see through it. I've got friends that just look at it and go, oh, I don't know. Just the energy coming off the page, the words written on there. You get to the point, you just feel it straight away. You can read 2 sentences into it and you go, no thanks. I've got friends who are just told, oh, read this, it comes from this. And my friend goes, nah, don't want to read it. Don't want to look at a video, don't need to. Just don't need to. Because that being in its heart already knows. Already knows. Doesn't even have to look at it. No thanks. Yeah. Now, what the Orion Nordics are saying now is they are saying to the ruling elite and the shadow government and all the black ops and all that stuff that's going on behind the scenes, we are your future. We have come from your future and we're here to help you. And by doing that, they undermine straight away your validity, your sense of self-worth. It's a good con. I mean, if you needed to approach a planet, you've got to put yourselves in their shoes, you see. If you needed to approach a planetary population, what would you do? You know, what would you do? What would you do? If you put yourself in their shoes, we are your future. So it's like, oh, good little children, we're so much more involved than you are. Listen to us, we will look after you. What a con. And the amount of money, and where that money comes from, my goodness, I won't go into it. The amount of money that has been spent on these projects that these beings, see what they do is they come here and they get into the ruling elite of the planet and into their heads and they keep them busy. You need to create this project and this and, oh, we'll teach you about wormholes. Here, look at this technology. And the scientists are like, wow, that's amazing. And they are just tunnel vision. They're like kept in this little paradigm on the planet, you know? This little circle. So you've got this big planet, and these beings are just kept in this little paradigm, right? To give it to you visually, right? Kept busy. We've got these guys working on that project there. And then what they do is they sort these people out. They feel them out. Who's worthy, who's not, who knows, who can see, who susses us out, who's conforming to our agenda, and who's not conforming to our agenda. So they've got all these projects, scientific projects, with all this high-tech stuff, because don't forget, they deprived us all these hundreds of years. They're the ones that plunged everybody down into the dark ages, stripped everything away, tried to hide all the ancient technologies. Like, I know how we built the pyramids, I was there. We just went up to the rocks, we asked the rocks, consciousness, because each mountain is a being, right, as well. And you ask, would you like to be a part of this project? And the rock goes, yes, I would. Some say, no, it's not my path. And the rocks divide themselves into whatever amount of molecular structure you require. Because you tell it, this is what I want to do. Do you want to be a part of it? So you work with nature. You're one with life. And then you project an energy resonance into that rock and you levitate it. You alter the molecular structure. The thing floats. It's easy. Okay? I can't do it right now, obviously, because I'm still on limited consciousness, but I'm reliving what I did back then, okay? That's where I'm coming from when I'm talking about this. It was easy back then. It's just soulless when you do these things when you're in that state of being. And you just levitate the rocks. And you just float them. You push your little pinky, right? And then you put it in a position and you just slowly re-densify that rock, and the rock just slowly comes down and moulds itself into place. That's why you can't even get a bit of paper between the rocks and the pyramids. Everything's just so perfect. And that's why when monuments are built this way, they stand the test of time. And the Templars did a project. They went to a mountainside and they got all the rocks from the bottom up, okay? And all the rocks they took from the top first, they put aside, and the rocks that were at the bottom of the cliff face, or the quarry, they put at the bottom of the building. And they built 2 churches side by side. And then they restructured the rocks the same way they got it from the hillside. And then they built another one just here and there. We'll use this rock, then we'll use that rock. And after 200 years, that one started to crumble, and that one is still standing today perfect. Because you're still maintaining the energy patterns, the life force energy through that rock. And that's why the pyramids still stand and have stood the test of time. Okay? And in South America, all the monuments, etc., etc. So, being bedazzled by technology. So here you have the Greys now, who are saying, oh, we come from this timeline from your future. No, they don't. What happened with the original Greys, because this story of the Greys that they're projecting to the planet now is there was an original race of humanoid beings on a planet that they had nuclear disaster, they went underground, and they came out a few 100,000 years later, and they chose the path of technology, and they genetically removed emotion, everything out of their DNA, because they needed to do that to live in such a confined space. And all their body parts atrophied, and that's why the Greys look the way they do. Now, that's the original race that did that. And they, I can tell you, are beautiful beings. They're the ones who originally came here to warn us not to head down the path we're going, because that, and I've met with them personally, and they say, look at me, look at this body. You do not want to end up like me. We have lost our way. We have lost our connection with the Creator. We are so desperate to return to the Creator. And that is the truth. But what happened is, these guys caught wind of it and thought, oh, we're going to use this. So you got the Greys that are being created by these other beings as their slaves to come and sell you the same story. And I've been abducted by both. Right? Again, I'm telling you because I live this stuff. I live it. And I know what it's like to have a machine plugged in you and them trying to turn on this device which sucks your kundalini out of your system. That hurts. That really, really hurts. Right. Now, by doing that, they're saying to the ruling elite behind the scenes, oh, this disaster that's coming up, you know, because they've told them there's a big disaster coming, because they can see the future, right? A big disaster coming because of the timeline. They say they've come back here and all this sort of, they've created this incredible story, and they say it's the technology that did it. It's the wormholes that did it. So we've got to turn off all these devices that they use to look into the future, devices that created wormholes they can transport from one planetary system to another. And they've got all this stuff happening behind the scenes. You wouldn't believe, you know, you take all the science fiction movies in Hollywood, you put them all together, and that ain't the half of it, of what's really going on. Okay? And they are saying that it is a result of the technology that the disaster happens on this planet. What another con. By saying that, they totally take away the power of the consciousness of this planet. because then they're responsible for what took place here. Do you understand the mind games here? Then they're responsible. It's our technology. We're the ones with the power. We're the ones that did that to that planet. What a load of crap. Okay? This Divine Mother, if she wanted to, she could crush them in an instant. But she won't do it. But I'm here on behalf of her, sharing the message. She's going to turn into a star. Get yourselves organised. Get yourselves ready, because it's happening. Now, I've done this before. I came here 12,000 years ago, and I said to everybody, get yourselves ready, get yourselves organised, because there's some pretty major stuff that's about to happen. And I've got a group of friends who I have karmic ties with, and I came here and I told them 12,500 years ago that this was going to happen, and they didn't believe me then, and they don't believe me now. And this is going to happen. And like I said, you all know this inside of you. So, having said that the whole ecosystem is going to go and turn into a star, I just want to divert a little bit, change the energy, and read this. Because when I say that you'll know it for yourselves, I want you to know that a lot of people are getting this around the planet. Here's an email I received. What can we do to help this transition of mankind and Earth? That is my question to you. My soul feels a deep sadness these days. When I walk in my woods, I find myself lovingly looking at the trees, the moss and the fern, and I think, how beautiful you are, dear Earth. And all of this will have to go. My feelings tell me that ascension is not only a step up into something wonderful, but also a farewell. And in that farewell lies great sadness. And I'll share that with you so you can understand how people all around the world, and that comes from Scandinavia, that one, are getting it. I was at the my son's soccer match, and a dad walked up to me. He goes, you know what, George? He goes, you see all this? Everything. The buildings, the trees. He goes, I'm going to have to walk away from this one day soon. All of it. And my jaw just went, like, he's just the dad. So, you know, all these people, you know, a lot of us think we're on this high spiritual path and everyone's left behind. No. You've got to understand, Joe Blow working in the factory on, you know, putting cars together or whatever, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many people already know this in here, but they just don't say anything. Okay? This isn't just little old me standing here making all this up. People are getting it already. Really, truly getting it in here. Not here. Here. Okay. Now, I spoke about Planet X, that's on its way. Now, I had a vision, you can call it that, but I had a connection with Mother Earth one night, in the middle of the night, and it was so powerful. You know, 3 in the morning, just straight away, I was standing up in bed. The amount of energy that came through me was so incredibly beautiful and powerful. Instantly, I stood up and got out of bed. And I was walking around, breathing deeply, trying to regulate the flow of the amount of energy and the connection that we had. Next thing, I found myself looking up at the night sky, and I saw our moon, and I saw another moon next to it. And it was blood red in colour. And that's Planet X. And I was told that things would happen to me personally at the time of the 2 moons. That is Planet X. That is Nibiru. And the time frame of those things occurring are really soon. Around 2011. So that thing is on its way. Now, you might think, well, that could have been just a vision for yourself, right? Here's another email I got from the other side of the world. When I was a little boy, now I recently got this, and this experience I had was years ago, right? When I was a little boy, I many times woke up desperate. It was a dream. A heavenly body, reddish in look, coming closer and closer to Earth. The nearing was accompanied by a terrible sound. I saw people running desperate in all directions. And I cried. Oh, how I cried when waking up. We're not alone in this. I might be standing here holding a microphone, speaking to you people, speaking down the camera, putting it out across the planet, but understand, all this knowing, all this knowledge will come to you if you don't already have it. People are waking up to this all over the world. It's like a quiet revolution, you know? Sounds like a whisper. It's happening. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. Now, the moon. Oh, Planet X, Anunnaki. Oh, I keep hearing stories about Anunnaki. My goodness, they're so evil. Anunnaki this, it's the Anunnaki. Bloody Anunnaki. Pardon my language. All right. There's two things going on here. You've got the original Anunnaki, and then you've got an imposter Anunnaki. The original Anunnaki are known as the Shining Ones. You know them as the Tuatha De Danann of the Celts, right? You know them as the Netters of Egypt. They are called the Shining Ones. They are called the Balnapa of the Aborigines. They are called many names. They are the original Shining Ones. They are the management team, and they are known as the Council of 12 and the Council of Light. When they originally came here and set life up, the imposters caught wind of that and came here and presented themselves as though they were those beings. So after the original embodiments were created for its original purpose, they came along and modified the genetics. And it is not the original Anunnaki who created slaves for mining gold and all that stuff that gets talked about. It was an imposter group that came and did that, because the way their propaganda campaigns work is they badmouth the good guys. Okay? And the original Anunnaki with An or Anu is this guy here. Different time, different place, different in cultural interpretation. He has come to this planet many times. He's known as An, he's known as Anu, he's known as Osiris. So Osiris is An, his lower aspect is Horus, he's Enki, the equivalent, for all the people who are into that stuff. Be careful what you read, because you've got to understand that texts have been manipulated over thousands of years. Be really careful, because people go, oh look, it's written in stone. Well, we didn't have books back then, so they wrote in stone. So how do you know a stone tablet wasn't created and a guy, you know, pointing a spear at a guy and says, you're going to write this, or else? Just because it's written in stone doesn't mean it's true. The only real truth you will ever, ever, ever know is in here. I'm standing up here today and I'm talking from here. And I don't care what anyone says about me, because you will not take away my sovereignty. You will not take away my truth. And I know the truth that's in here is in you, and in you, and in you, and in you. It's everyone. We've all got it. It's just a matter of getting in touch with it. Okay? Mine's been activated because of all my experiences. Soon it's all going to spill into the public arena, and yours will be activated. Yours will just be activated in a different way to the way mine was, that's all. That's all it is. Now, when the ships turn up, they're going to have a really intense layer of control. So we're all waiting, right? We're all waiting for the ships to turn up to activate everybody. And many will be activated. It'll be the trigger, okay? But you've got to understand the level of control will be more powerful too. It's getting more intense all the time. All your digital plasma screens, whoo, the energy that comes out of those things. I definitely did not go that direction. That's crossing the line. When you go from analog to digital, well, they've got you good. They've got you real good. When you sit there, you are being programmed constantly by those things. All right? So when the ships turn up, it's going to have a dampening effect. Not as many people that you think would awaken will awaken. You'd think the biggest thing ever happening, ET's turning up, some people will just go, oh yeah, okay. But what about my haircut? What about my GT Monaro? I want to get a set of mags for it, you know? They'll still just continue to have other priorities. For them, so what? A couple of ETs turned up. And you're just going to stand there and go, are you all right? Like, do you understand what this means for humanity and the planet? Come on. And they won't get it. So be patient with them. Just let them be, you know? Okay, we've just got to change tapes again, haven't we? Okay, now here's another clever part of their manipulation. It's just an illusion. This isn't really real. Oh, that one used to just fry my nerves. That used to get me so upset. That is such poison, that concept. That is the philosophy of the Greys. Be careful. They're going to say, you're all God, we're all one, this is just an illusion, it's just a dream, it's not really real. Well, if it is, leave. That's what I say to people. I was sitting down having a meal with a guy, and he's saying, I'm not really eating this. I go, what? Oh, excuse me? Oh, I'm not really eating this, I'm not really here, it's just an illusion. Oh, what do you do? People like that, you know? So, why do they say that? Why are they brainwashing people with those philosophies? Because it totally undermines who you are and why you have chosen to come here, the reason, the purpose, the intention of your existence here on earth. It undermines the whole process of the divine plan. Because they are the powerful ones with their technology. There is no way in hell are they going to accept the fact that you are becoming a god. No way in hell are they going to accept the fact that this planet has power in her own right and is the manifestation of the Divine Mother carrying us all in her womb. No way. No way. So please, when you hear about the now moment, there's a lot of good stuff. The now moment is real, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good stuff in the now moment teachings. But you don't understand that every philosophy that gets released, then it all begins to get manipulated over time. So be very careful with all these high-end, mind-bending philosophies. Because it's full of it at the moment out there in the world. They're everywhere. Seminars for them, the whole lot. You name it. This is our reality. It's real. You chose to come here. You exist here because you needed to come here and learn. Your soul needs it. That's why you're here. And you're part of a bigger process. And you're taking responsibility for everything that you've done, everything that you've been. All your creations. They're all being integrated into oneness and harmony in this lifetime. Now, the moon. The moon. Okay, this is a big one. I'm going out on a limb here, okay? Everybody loves the moon. No, not everybody, but especially in the spiritual circles, the moon is this wonderful thing. Now, there's a big story behind the moon, a really big story. I'm just going to say that when I'm going to tell you about the moon is because I have been to the moon. Beings came and took me, and they took me to the moon. And that, I've just lost a lot of people through that stage there alone. But that's their journey. I respect that. Have you ever heard of a little wives' tale that says, little green man that lived on the moon? Right? A few people nodding their heads. Right. That is true. The beings that came and took me were about that high, had really round heads, they had eyes like ours, and when they smiled, they had lots of little teeth, like 14 teeth across the front. Not like us, we have 5 or 6 that show. And they took me there, and they took me there for unpleasant, unsavoury circumstances. But my high self came in. And I can tell you, that moon has never been the same again. And there's other people that have been involved in situations like that. Like I said, we all do work behind the scenes. I'm not saying that to make myself big and tough or anything like that, far from it. Because I'm going to share with you the moon, where it comes from, who built it, and why it's sitting around the Earth. And I'm going to do that in the next, we'll have a break, and we'll do that in the next section. Okay? Thank you, everyone.